Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/SIBSB. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Until I met my new best friend, all of my boys say I'm tripping. When they call, I'm not answering. They always get my voicemail 'cause
Alex, are we rolling? We're rolling. Welcome to another episode of Sorry I've Been So Busy. This is the podcast where we talk to very busy people.
You got a little sing-songy there.
A little sing-songy. I'm trying to mix it up. You know,
it's like Hamilton.
Getting close to episode 100. Got to mix it up. That's Andrew Goldstein.
At Ange Gold on Twitter, ANGEGOLD.
I'm Matt Goldich, MATTGOLDICH on Twitter. I didn't even get to finish. Sometimes we talk to very busy people about what they're busy with. Sometimes we talk to not very busy people about what they pretend to be busy with all day. Today, not sure. I got a guy that I know very well and yet know very little about. So it's going to be
a man of mystery.
A very, very mysterious
But it's
man.
funny you say that because our busybody of the week.
Yes, give us our busybody of the week.
He's perfect for this week because, he's perfect for what you just said because his tweet is exactly the sentiment you just expressed. So this gentleman named Jorge Cast, at Jorge_Cast, C-A-S-T, tweeted, apropos of nothing, people who always talk about being super busy are usually not that busy, right?
Yeah.
Then Turner Sparks, former guest of the pod, fantastic comedian.
Sure.
He wrote, he commented on Jorge's post, "May I introduce you to the Sorry I've Been So Busy podcast with at Ange Gold," left you out.
Fair.
And Jorge responded, "Sorry, I'm pretty busy with my other podcasts. This looks great. Subscribe." So thank you, Jorge Cast.
And Turner for hooking it up.
So it's kind of a dual busybody of the week.
Okay, great
here.
job, Jorge Cast. You are busybody of the week.
At Jorge_Cast. Everybody follow him.
If he doesn't listen now, nothing will work. And by the way, if you would like to become a busybody, please rate and review us on iTunes. That really helps us, and you'll get a shout out on the podcast. And also, I should mention, we are here at Showbiz Studios, and you should also check out all the other great podcasts they have on the Showbiz Network. And they have a YouTube page, right? We can go to the Showbiz Studios YouTube page, and you can
listen to our podcast through
on
YouTube.
Yes, that's true.
So, like on your desktop at work, put headphones on.
Yes.
Click off the page and just be listening to us,
as well as several other YouTube Showbiz podcasts are on YouTube,
of which there are many.
A growing network. You could open up Firefox. And you could listen to our podcast on YouTube, and then you could open up Google Chrome, and you could watch porn on mute.
Yeah.
And you could do both at the same time.
That's how you do it.
Right?
That's the pro move.
Yes, that's the
That's the pro tip.
That's what the pros do.
Every week we're going to give out a pro tip, and
exactly.
That's our first one.
Any other? I'm trying to think if there's.
Matt, what's going on? Happy post-Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
What's been going on?
We had the long Thanksgiving weekend.
What have you been busy with?
That's a perfect setup. Typically, I go home. My wife and I come from not too far, so we hit both families on Thanksgiving. And then this is what normally would have been my 20th high school reunion year, which typically is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving night. Now,
AKA Turkey Trot.
Yes, AKA Turkey Trot. Yeah. Little history. That's an inside joke for all the U.S. wires. Little history. The same. I believe the same committee or a couple people have been organizing the high school reunion ever since we graduated. The 10-year high school reunion, very well attended, very popular. 15-year high school reunion. This was 5 years ago. I found out about it the morning of, and only because I ran into somebody I went to high school with at the airport.
Wow.
He said, "Are you going to the reunion tonight?" I said, "I didn't know there was one." We decided to go. It was very poorly attended, and the person organizing said, "Well, I don't know why it's so poorly attended." I said, "It might have something to do with the fact that I only found out about it this morning. It seems like maybe other people would." This year, they shifted things. They did the reunion over the summer. I don't understand why.
That's
they picked
weird.
a random summer weekend close to graduation, I guess. It seems like Thanksgiving weekend will be the best weekend for it. I don't.
Who wants to take a summer weekend to see all the people you went to high school with?
I do know other people who went to high schools who did do it, but it's not a good way to get people from out of town.
Yeah.
The Facebook pictures I've seen, again, seem to be poorly attended again. So no reunion this year over the Thanksgiving weekend. However, on Friday night, or on at some point over Thanksgiving weekend, I logged onto Facebook, and I saw a bunch of people I went to high school with had sort of taken it upon themselves to do their own kind of reunion, their own like sort of
the self-starters.
The self-starter reunion. So about 15 people who I would say, friendly with, but it wasn't like I was part of this like crew, but
Sure.
I was friendly with a lot of the people in the picture. And it's weird because I don't necessarily talk to a lot of people from high school. I'm not close with really more than one or two people. And yet I felt a little tinge of jealousy.
You didn't make the cut.
Didn't make the cut, but that's fine. But more importantly, whoever organized that picture and that get-together needs to organize the 25th, the official one, because they did a very good job.
They should take over the whole operation.
They should. And I almost said something to that effect on the Facebook, but then
Like
I was
Seinfeld
worried.
with the marathon runner.
I was worried that the people who actually organized the actual reunions would see it and become offended that I was attacking their.
You should be really
reunion organizing.
passive-aggressive with your Facebook comments, like, "Oh, looks
Yeah.
like you guys had a good
Somebody
time."
managed to do it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's weird because I always have you gone back to a lot of your high school reunions?
Yeah, I went to my 10-year,
Yeah.
and the problem with that one was they used a really terrible app to send out the invitation, so mine
Yeah.
went to, like, spam.
Yeah.
And so I had a similar problem.
Yeah.
They used, like, mail, I don't know, some weird...
Yeah.
So it was poorly attended, but there were enough good people there for me that I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
Saw some people reunited. And then my 20-year was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like 8 people, and it was just very, again, word didn't get
remember,
out.
Yeah, the 10.
I had a good time.
I had a good time at the 10 and the
But
15.
it wasn't the people.
I
wasn't
always
like all the
enjoy
people.
them, even though like I said, I'm not close with people from high school. I find that the people that I didn't get along with in high school, or that bullied me or made fun of me growing up, either one of two things: either A, they've become very nice, and I enjoy having a conversation with them, and it's pleasant,
They've
and it's
chilled
nice
out.
to see that people can become better. Or B, they're doing very poorly in life, and that makes me feel better. Happy.
Yeah.
Yes. So one way or another, I get some
I always
enjoyment out of
find, at least with my school, I find it weird that the class president from high school
Yeah.
is trusted with that responsibility all these years later. Like, do they know when they're running for class president in the 10th grade
Right.
that this responsibility is going to follow them for the rest of their life?
There is part of me.
You're signing a lifelong contract.
Tell me if this is weird. Even though I'm close with maybe one person from my high school class, there is part of me that wants to take the operation over myself, even though I couldn't name...
John Salmons.
Yeah, he was a year younger. I couldn't name 90% of the people in my high school class, and yet I kind of want to take over the operation because I feel like I could
do a better job.
Track down everyone's emails. The last one, and I think the last two have been just merely just Facebook. That's the only way it was promoted. And you can't do that because not everybody's on.
Well, yeah, my 10-year was like Facebook explosion.
Yeah.
Of like people being
That
in touch
way,
with
I think
everybody.
there was
That's
an Evite.
kind of when
I think there was an Evite, yeah.
After the 10-year, that's when I like went on Facebook and like friended a lot of people that I went to high school with.
They need to start.
But they used this like I don't even remember the app.
HQ.
And it just wasn't HQ. And it just wasn't and they picked the other problem we live in the Philadelphia suburbs. You want to pick a place in the city.
Yeah.
So it's very central. They picked a place in like New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Which like not everybody still lives in Bucks County. So like all the people who came in to various parts of Pennsylvania had to like trek all the way to New Hope. So it was just Yeah,
well,
we should do a whole other podcast about planning high school reunions.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, we got 5 years to go for my 25th and 4 for yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a whole other thing.
You know who should plan them? Jessica Schwecke. She plans those
my God.
NBC Page reunions.
I haven't been to
and
any of
they're
those.
amazingly attended.
Yeah. Are they still well attended?
Every single time.
Yeah. Well,
Fantastic. Shout out to Jessica Schwecke.
people have a lot of stories to swap.
Apparently, a lot going on in
yeah,
at the Peacock.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get right back with our guest. For you, the listeners of Sorry I've Been So Busy, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. You can download any book you want. You could download Jensen Karp's book, Kanye West Owes Me $300, his great memoir about being a white teen rapper. We had Jensen on the podcast to talk about his book, and it was awesome, and he's a super interesting guy, so check that out. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/SIBSB. Again, that's audibletrial.com/SIBSB for your free audiobook. All right, we're back with our guest. I'm very excited to see him. I have not seen him since yesterday.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. It's somebody I work with every day. He's one of the other writers at Late Night with Seth Meyers, and a very funny guy. Someone who we've gotten along since the very beginning.
We get along great.
First started. It's Ben Warheit, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. It's nice to meet you. I've never have met you. I don't work with you, but it's great to have you.
You could someday.
Yeah.
Someday
Yeah.
you could. Ben works on a lot of things.
I do. I try to.
And Ben and I have a weird amount of things in common. When we first started working together, we started to notice all these coincidences that were very strange. Number one, Ben is from Wilmington, Delaware.
I was going to say the Delaware connection.
Yes, which nobody is from there.
Nobody
Very few people. Except you and my
your
wife.
wife.
Yeah. And you actually live... Do your parents still live in the same place that you lived growing up?
No. And that's, a source of trauma for me.
Yeah. They moved, and my wife's parents moved, and they moved very close to each other.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Your wife's parents moved close to your parents?
No, they moved close to your parents,
parents.
where they are now.
Really?
They had their choice.
Oh,
They
because you
said
dropped me off one time.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I want to
they
give
had
you
their
a ride
choice.
home
They were
on
like, we
Thanksgiving.
could move towards the Goldiches or by the Warhites. We're going with the Warhites.
Yeah.
You know, I have a funny story about that neighborhood also
Okay.
now, too.
Go on.
Well, okay. I don't know how funny it is to anybody but me. My mom's best friend won't talk to her now. The mother of my childhood best friend, they've known each other, my mom and this woman, 30 years. And we did everything together growing up. And more recently, the adults in the family decided to relocate to North Carolina, where the kids currently reside, the adult children currently reside, and we're selling their house, which is in Eden Ridge, and they sold the house to my first girlfriend, my 6th grade girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the realtor who sold the house is one of my best friends, who is also my age.
Yeah.
And I heard this from her, and it wasn't a secret. And I told my mom this, and I was like, "Yeah, And she's like, "Can I talk to her about it?" I was like, "Yeah, it didn't seem like it was a secret." So my mom tells this woman,
Her best friend.
"Oh, I heard you sold the house. Congratulations!" And she becomes livid, and she's like, "It's nobody's business but mine. How dare you know anything about that or be talking about it or ask me about it?" And she's like, "Audrey, I just heard you sold your house. It's like public record. It's like in the paper. You could drive by it. It'll have a sold sign on it." And she would not let up, and she would not talk to my mom.
What a weird hill to die on.
Yeah.
Right. And so my mom kept trying to amend things, make things right. And she's like, "Audrey, I'm not saying the name, but I don't know what let's talk this out. And she wouldn't. And when other people would bring it up at bridge, she wouldn't do mahjong with my mom. My mom plays mahjong with her, and she wouldn't go to play with her anymore. And then she would go to do bridge with other ladies, and when they'd bring up something about the house, she'd have the same reaction and storm out. Now she lives in North Carolina, still won't talk to my mom, but at this point, my mom is angry at her and was like, "Well, if she apologized, I'm not going to accept that."
Yeah.
Well, wait till they hear this podcast.
Is there there must be some underlying trauma there. Like maybe she's upset about moving, and
I think there's a combination of things. I think one thing is she's maybe been always a little batty. And another thing is I think it has something to do with this is just me trying to trying to look at the psychology of it. She's selling the house to one of her child's friends, and it was sold via another child's friend. And it's like she's being replaced by the next generation, and that makes her feel useless.
Yeah, interesting.
Or maybe it's a money thing. Like she doesn't want people thinking about her money, her family's money.
Yeah, that could be it. But I mean,
but that wasn't
that has
even part of the
nothing to do with it.
details.
Yeah.
It was just that the house sold.
Do your family to have these things? I feel like I hear about this not just with my family, but with everybody's family. Like this is like a common story you hear from parents, where like your parents are friends with somebody for like 20 years. 30 years, and then all of a sudden there's some sort of falling out, and then your parents are like, well, we always hated those people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why did you hang out with them all the time for 30 years?
Yeah.
You know,
There's
it's
that
just
point.
such a strange thing where, like, well, we never liked them, and it was just sort of inertia keeping the friendship going.
And
This
kids.
is great. I guess we'll be like that someday. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just have like a fall.
The bigger question: at what age do women reach where like bridge and mahjong become like the social event of the week?
Yeah,
I think it depends on the suburb. It depends on where you're in Delaware.
Oh, this is a mahjong suburb.
Yeah.
it could be a book club. It could be a wine club.
Bunko. Could be
Bunko.
Bunko. That's another one.
A fight club.
You definitely have a strong Delaware connection still. You have a heart. You right? Like you're very
Oh,
not
absolutely.
a Delaware pride.
I love Delaware.
He was telling me that
I read that
he
super
was doing
long
research on
article
you.
about you.
Oh, really?
From the Delaware newspaper, and the whole thing is basically talks about how you infuse Delaware into a lot of the sketches and bits that you write.
I'm a big fan of like tradition.
Sure.
And I like pride. I don't know, the concepts that are interesting to me. I only in the last 5 years started liking football, but I love football now.
Eagles
and
fan.
I'm a huge Eagles fan. And I'm so happy that like we have a good team right now, but like I just like I like the idea that I would like a team just because I'm from around where
From
they
your
are.
region, yeah.
I like that idea.
I was
going to
ask you-
it's very tribalistic. I don't know.
With Delaware to me is weird because it's split. You're either like a Delaware person who is like Pennsylvania pride or
Slower, lower.
or on the Maryland.
Yeah.
You know, you
call
either
it slower.
identify with like,
Philadelphia
oh yeah, I'm sort of
or-
from
yeah.
Philadelphia, or it's like you're from Delaware, but you're like, I'm sort of from Maryland.
Yeah.
So do you more identify with like the Pennsylvania side?
Yeah.
Wilmington, you're part of the tri-state area,
Yeah.
the Delaware
Yeah.
Valley. Sure.
Yeah. But we're still our own thing.
Of course.
We just don't have any
And there's
major
only
sports.
like a handful of like Delaware pop culture references or Delaware like obviously
Biden.
Wayne's World was a big one growing up because Wayne's World was like my favorite movie.
The
growing up.
Crozier
The fact that they
Chester
mentioned
Medical
Delaware.
Center.
Yeah, like I feel like that's in every Clinton Tarantino
Huge cultural reference point.
I would say like probably the two things people know Delaware most for nationally are either Biden or like it's where like a lot of corporations are headquartered because of their tax laws or something. It's like a combination.
Oh yeah,
I'm
tax-free.
headquartered in Delaware.
Are you headquartered in Delaware? I actually don't know if I am. I have to look into that.
I remember when my brother got his driver's license, one of the first things he did was drive to Delaware to buy a watch.
Because
it was
there's
tax-free.
no sales tax.
Like
Yeah.
that's how deep the like need to get a deal is in my family.
Right.
This is the other weird connection with myself and Ben. So when I started work, this was probably at this point I had moved back from LA. My wife was still living in LA, and you had a party at your house at the time, at your apartment, which was the same apartment that my wife was living in when I met her, and you literally were sleeping in the same bedroom that she was sleeping in when I met her, which is like an insane coincidence.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's sort of this comedy apartment.
I've been to that
apartment.
apartment
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah. It's a good apartment.
You were there
You
for
used
a
to
long
live there.
time.
You don't live
I
there now.
moved out earlier this year.
That's so cool. It's like lineage.
But
Yeah.
like I remember, texting a photo of just being like, I'm on your old bed. It probably wasn't the same bed, but I was like, I'm in your old bedroom right now. Like that was the bedroom
same
where
mattress.
we came back from Mexico, a trip, and I had got the flu, and I like laid in that bedroom for 4 days, like by myself,
Yeah.
like watching like an old.
Oh, you
school,
lived in
like,
the Matt
antenna-
Goldich death bedroom.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Weird thing about where you live. So I lived in that room, and then I moved to one of the bigger rooms up to the front of the apartment. One of the ones like with a street facing view and more space, right? But never would I be as comfortable as I was in that bedroom. It was a good bedroom. It
was a good-
tiny, but it got great morning light. And I think, these things that we prioritize, I don't know. I don't think there could have been a time where I would have said, no, I'm not going to move because I wanted more space, but wouldn't be as happy.
Yeah.
There you go.
There was also one bedroom with no window, right?
Yeah.
And that was
windowless.
Yeah.
I had a windowless bedroom in my second apartment.
I think that my wife moved
I don't mind
in
it.
thinking that she was going to get her bedroom, and then when she got there, they were like, "You have the windowless room for a month," would not know it, and then she was like, "Okay," or something. There was some sort of weird. There were always people moving.
I feel like there's always people in the apartment who are making decisions without consulting.
Yeah. And this has been the case for 12 years. And we've talked about this many times. This is this transient, there's always random people sleeping on the couch.
Well, this apartment has come up on this podcast before because when we had Craig Baldo on and he told that story about Pete Holmes and right, didn't they all live there?
Baldo didn't live there.
No,
Oren Brimmer.
But somebody told the story about Pete Holmes and Oren Brimmer, and that all was sort of taking place in that apartment.
Yes,
Kurt
it was.
Braunohler.
Kurt Braunohler replaced Robin, and then there was someone we had on. We talked about this apartment about how I would wake up at 4 a.m. to go pee, and someone would be in there editing.
Yeah,
a video.
they'd be making a comedy video.
It was the group was Pete, Oren, Matt McCarthy. We haven't had Matt McCarthy on. Who else?
We should, though.
Who else would it be? We should. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But I think it was a past podcast. But you know what I wanted to bring up with you from that article is I want to talk about WaWa.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I think of it as a Philly thing, but they're all over. They're all over Delaware.
They're all over Delaware and New Jersey.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia.
They're changing now from standalone to the big gas station.
That's been a while now.
Yeah.
That's been since maybe 8 years ago.
What's your go-to WaWa purchase?
Okay, so I'm going into WaWa. I'm gonna get probably a hot sandwich.
A sizzly? That's the morning, or a shorty.
I'll probably get a shorty,
Yeah.
because I'm not in college anymore.
Sure, you're an adult. You're a grown boy.
And I don't need all that. I don't need the whole thing. In an ideal world, I go to heaven and I get to order anything from WaWa.
Yeah.
They don't have this anymore. It's the hot roast beef.
Yeah.
They don't do the little cubed roast beefs in the whatever gravy sauce anymore like they used to. And I would get it with a combination of toppings that you would never be able to get anywhere
What's
else.
fun at WaWa is at the deli, they have the electronic thing.
Yeah.
Boop, boop.
Yeah, you
extra
get to
cheese,
pick, and
boop.
no one gets to judge you.
Yeah.
You get
Extra
to
meat, extra
decide.
cheese, the oregano.
You make combinations that you wouldn't make otherwise if you
Because
were
it's all in
asking.
front of you.
Yeah, and also because the pictures are there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, do I want mustard? I don't know. Oh, do I want that? Yeah, do I want that kind of yellow
Oh, that
sauce?
looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, honey mustard. That might taste good.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
One of my brothers, and I cannot remember which one, always gets a meatball sub, but then adds buffalo sauce.
I like the meatball sub at WaWa, but adding buffalo sauce is a weird convergence of sauces. That's weird to me.
The last time I was there, I learned
I could get down with that.
that you could order. You have weird food stuff. We'll talk about it. You can order because I wanted to go in and just get an iced coffee, but I don't like the WaWa machine. It's only it's all pre-sweetened, pre-milked iced coffee, which is not how I like it. But you can go to the counter and just boop boop boop, use the computer and just get a black cold brew.
Best. You don't have to talk to anybody. I used to. I don't do it anymore because I can't make this order. I can't do this order anymore for health reasons. But I used to get a WaWa peach iced tea, which later in my life I found out is 1,000% sugar.
Yeah.
And then I used to get one of the soft pretzel, usually the twist, not the figure eight, the twist, because it's basically all knots. Fantastic. And a tasty cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A coffee cake.
No hers. See,
No.
I'm all about the Hearst potato chips. The
Well,
salt
you're
and vinegar.
you're a savory guy. I'm a sweet guy.
Yeah.
But the WaWa iced tea, that's the classic. You don't walk out of the WaWa without.
Yeah. Down the shore, late night WaWa run, we all used to get big WaWa iced teas.
Yeah. My
So
buddy
good.
Jeff, who lives in Los Angeles, last time I was in Los Angeles, he had driven back. He had done a cross-country road trip. And when I was in Los Angeles for the Emmys, he had WaWa iced tea, big things. in his fridge and in his car, he's like, "Oh yeah, I bought a case
For the road trip.
Yeah.
Can you buy like from corporate or like you?
No,
go
he
in,
just bought
went into the
24
store?
of them.
That's insane. Wow,
That's something my brother
Yeah.
would do.
So one of the reasons we've worked together a lot is because you brought me in very early on one of your pitches. A pitch that you made at the show that got picked.
Can I guess?
Well,
You burnt.
You burnt, yeah.
You burnt.
Which I love because I love anything.
It's one of these
roasty.
things that's
Yeah.
morphed where it started as one thing. How did you envision? It was sort of like almost like a PTI.
It evolved. The original thing that it kind of evolved out of was I wanted to do a roast, like a Friars Club roast of a guest. And like 3 different writers would be like, come up and do it. And that got sort of like melded into something else that didn't get made and then shelved.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do something like Sports Center-y, and I was like, I wanted to just sort of like play with the format of like the visuals a little bit. And like PTI seemed like a really good one.
Yeah.
And so I just like thought about doing that, but with roasting,
Right.
and converted some of the jokes
And
I had from the other one. into
I
that
remember
one.
like sitting around trying to write the first one and like come up with the jokes, and we were just like really struggling for whatever reason. I don't know. And then we finally we hit on something where we figured it out. I don't know.
And then somewhere along the way, we lost it. Again.
Somewhere we've lost it and found it like 8 million times.
I love
since
it.
then.
All the fire graphics and
But it's crazy. It's one of those things where it's like off the cuff, someone says like, "Hey, do you want to help me work on this thing?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure." Like just like without even thinking about it, and then like 80 of them later, you're just like you're still working.
And then
on
you
it.
realize someone says like, "You like donuts? Here, eat all the donuts for the rest of your life."
Right. Yeah, I was telling to somebody. This is a feeling that everybody who works on a show like this feels, but. Try to imagine like your dream is to work on like a late night talk show. Like there's so many people out there who want our job, and like I understand that. And so like try to explain them the feeling of like your pitch gets picked and you're like, oh, now I have to write it.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
that, like not being like, oh my god, I actually have to work on this thing that I came up with and they liked it. Like it's just like it's such a strange feeling of not having to describe that feeling.
Well, there's I think things feel differently at different times. If it's something you think will be on the show, maybe you're more enthused about writing it.
Yeah.
If it's an idea that you really like and then you're like, oh, it got picked, but like now that I'm thinking about it, this is something that's going to go through
Right. Yeah.
like a series of revisions and I'm going to subject myself to criticism about it multiple times and it's still not going to be on the show, then it can be kind of disheartening.
And by the way, we should say, like, we work at probably the best place. There are probably other places where people work where it's like the way you find out this information or like the reason behind the changes are like things that you like don't really understand or respect or like are never explained to you. And so it's just like it can be much.
Yeah, I think we have a dreamlike scenario.
Yeah. And it still sometimes is painful.
Yeah, but I think anything will be frustrating.
Right.
I think something that's frustrating to me is that like I didn't really like to concern myself too much with political stuff. I think it's just like a different wheelhouse like than the kind of stuff I like to make. And I guess I've been thinking about this more lately because I've been writing things that feel a bit more reactionary and more defensive to what's happening in the
I
culture.
think there's definitely like a place for that. Yeah.
But it's not my natural element.
Yeah.
And my natural element is like exploring like light, like optimism,
Weird.
joyful
Yeah.
quirkiness of like things that like.
Yeah.
absurdities.
Yeah. Absurdities,
But people
yeah.
need that right now more than ever, probably.
But it's much
take
harder
their
to get those to sort of like find
It
what
is.
those things are. Like
Everybody
this
is
last thing,
really thinking about what's going on.
yeah,
Not just at our show, but in the world.
in the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what show. It's like SpongeBob SquarePants is talking about Trump. Like you can't get around it.
Yeah, and important and also very infuriating and frustrating.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Anything else before?
Well, I was just going to say, it's a volume business. When you're in a situation where you're pitching,
Yeah.
And so you're like, I just want to get this pitch through, and then once it gets through, then you're like, oh wait, I got to write it.
Yeah.
Which is the sentiment that you just shared. But
I mean, this has happened to me a lot more at other places I've worked, where like you pitch something and they like send it back to you, and they've made it like, I remember. I won't say. One time I pitched an idea where it was like the Mets were really bad, and so I pitched like a commercial for the Mets that was like, hey, like, I don't even remember. It was like, hey, the Mets are bad, but you should still come to the game, and if you do, you'll get to like smell the inside of the mascot costume or something like that.
Right.
And then they were like, we like this. They basically kept the Mets are bad, and they crossed out everything else.
Right.
And they had me do a thing where the shortstop explodes into a ball of fire, and they were like, you work on that. And I was like, I don't want to. I was like, that wasn't my pitch. I don't know why. But I was like, I'm not going to say no, because if this is something you want on the show. Like, it's such a weird thing. Where
I've been watching some Conan scraps lately.
Yeah.
And I love Conan.
Oh, sure.
the best.
But like, I'm watching these scraps, and like, some of this seems like miserable to be like workshopping your ideas in front of your boss, and he's like just being like, "Oh, this sucks. Why are we doing this?"
Yeah.
Like, for
I
him to
watch
be
them
so
all the time.
antagonistic.
The Conan scraps are so good.
what are Conan scraps?
So they do outtakes from rehearsal.
oh, yeah.
So Conan sits at his desk with his guitar, and Andy's in like gym shorts,
Yeah.
and flip flops.
Conan's usually playing a guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the one with they have their associate producer Jordan Schlansky, and he came out dressed as Spock because he's a Star Wars guy, but they had him come out to talk about why Star Wars is better than Star Trek, but dressed as Spock. And Schlansky just went on a 10-minute diatribe about it, and Conan was supposed to cut him off, but didn't because he was on such a roll. It's the funniest
I gotta
thing
see this.
to just watch Conan watching this, like, this dude go off on this esoteric reason of why Star Wars is better.
Yeah.
It is so.
check it out.
Sometimes
How
they're
would
better
you-
than the show.
To what degree do you admire like somebody who's like that? Like Jordan Schlansky seems like, oh, this guy's got a minor amount of like attention now on the show. Like he's become a character on the show.
Yeah.
So that's cool. He gets to be in a number of pieces about him, but it's all about how
Quirky and.
But they're like because he's an asshole, or they don't like him. They
Yeah.
like him, but they don't like him. What's funny to them? is
I knew him years ago from
Yeah.
when we were pages, and I used to, I spent a lot of time in those offices. But I think it's, I think they're all so comfortable. Like all those people that work on that show have been there for 20 years. Like Schlansky's been there for the longest time. So I think there's a comfort level to where it's okay that the whole thing is we're laughing at you and with you. I think he's okay with it.
I would hope so.
He's very confident.
It looks like he's okay.
He's very confident in his own.
But you're
quirky
saying his
skin.
whole public persona is that he's an asshole, and that's like, or that he's annoying, and that's like all people ever know about him or something.
and weirdly
weird.
quirky.
Yeah. I don't know. He must be okay with it, or he's just has.
But there's that guy in every
repressed.
office, and that's why I think it resonates.
Right, but it is weird the idea, the moment when somebody determines like, "Hey, you're that guy that we all hate." It's like, "Hey, what if I don't want to be that guy?
You're
What
the
if I
cop.
want to be the guy that everybody likes?"
And he just gets on his Vespa and goes to a highfalutin coffee bar.
Should we talk about Ben's day?
Sure.
Ben, do you have a recent day that was interesting, or do you want to talk about a general day in your life?
What's a day like?
Start at the beginning of your day and take us through. Is there a day?
A regular day?
Any
Yeah,
day.
what keeps
pick,
you
pick
busy?
a day that recently that was interesting, or
Is this that day that we talked about? Or is this a different day?
whatever you want.
Whatever day, whatever a general day. It doesn't have to be a specific.
Well,
day.
okay. I'll talk about like a general work day. But you already know this.
No, we don't want to do that. Do the day.
Okay,
you want to do
this
the
is
other
that.
day? Okay, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I'll talk about an interesting day. How about
Let's
that?
talk about an interesting
Yeah,
day.
interesting
All right,
is good.
Yeah, but
Okay,
but
I
don't
can do
be
that.
don't be afraid to tell us about the non-interesting parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about an interesting day.
Like what
So,
time did you wake up on this day?
On this day, I think I woke up, I think it was, I got to sleep till like 8:39.
Mm.
You know,
So this was not a work day.
No, this was a work day.
Oh, it was a work
Yeah, this was like on this day I shot a role in a film.
Oh, okay.
And
so you woke up at like 8:30 or 9.
yeah,
Did you have to set your alarm to wake up early?
I did. Well, I have my alarm. Actually, I have like a system now in my apartment where I got like these this like Bluetooth controlled thing that controls my roller blackout shades. So and like 5 minutes before my alarm goes off, light floods my room.
Wow.
Helps me wake up.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
So you're not as like, stunned when the alarm
Yeah.
goes
Is that
off.
controlled through like an Echo or an
scheduler. Well, I think it's going to be compatible with that soon.
Right.
But it's just like on your phone, you set the schedule. And I have my alarm, which is I sort of chopped up a song and moved it into Audacity and like faded in over the course of 3 minutes so it doesn't like alarm me.
Oh, wow.
I've really
It's a-
structured my wake
what
up
song is
because I
it?
don't like waking up in the morning.
What song is it?
You want to hear it? No.
I do want to hear it. We've never done this before.
This is great. Audio visual.
Yeah.
No visual.
No, just an audio cue. This is the song that wakes Ben Warheit up in the morning.
We'll have to pay the rights
Yeah.
and
Who owns-
clearances for it.
What's that? Less than 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll hear it less than 30 seconds.
Oh, I see. So it starts off very silent.
This is
Is this an original composition
Ben's
of yours?
alarm.
or-
Here it comes.
I hear some percussive elements.
It's mostly percussive till like 3 minutes.
It's gonna kick in. I love it.
Where did you find this song?
It's Dance Yourself Clean,
Oh, yeah, LCD.
Yeah. but I've, I let it sort of rise me up.
Wow. Feels like you're waking up in a tent. Like a...
It's like you're waking
Oh, he
up.
says cut it off. Okay, Alex
It's
says
like
we're
you're
gonna have to
waking
pay
up in a
for it.
Paul Simon song.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm up.
Yeah, I'm awake. Yeah, that works.
I spent a lot of time trying to customize the things in my house.
Did you have a hard time getting out of bed on this particular day, or were you...
No, I don't think so. I don't really remember the waking up. I think I had a couple hours before I needed to be on set, which was nice, and
Right.
I got to sort of like jazz myself up. Actually, I think on this day, this was a big day for me because I'd never been in a real film before.
Oh, wow.
I've been in like an indie feature, but this
Sure.
was like a real feature, and it was Woody Allen's new film.
Oh, not
Wow.
Wonder Wheel, the one that hasn't
No,
come
the
out.
next one.
The next one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Now, here's... Sorry to interrupt you. Now, obviously, you know there's going to be some crafty at the set.
yes.
But did you have breakfast at home? Did you have some coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
No coffee.
You're not a coffee guy. I'm not a coffee guy.
You know, that might... I'm just going to throw this out there, but that might help with the not being able to get out of bed.
No, not me. It
Really?
doesn't. Coffee doesn't have that effect on me.
Have you tried it?
Yes.
You just don't like it, or the caffeine
I
doesn't?
like coffee. It doesn't make me feel the way that other people feel.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't make me alert. And I've been on.
Yeah.
I've been on prescribed various forms of ADD medication since I was 10 years old, and I feel like I'm pretty attuned to different drugs' effects on my body.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to take a little bit of Adderall in the morning, that might wake me up
Yeah.
more. But it would probably change my mood a bit.
Yeah.
Coffee, no. It would just make me uncomfortable in my skin and jittery.
We don't want that.
And you're going to a movie set. You got to be
Yeah.
all. You got to
Yeah,
be.
I
you
wanna
got to be.
be-
yourself.
Although, for a Woody Allen movie, jittery might... I don't know what character you're playing, but that might be the right
Yeah. What?
mode.
Can you talk about your character?
Yeah. So I have one.
Don't spoil too much.
One scene. I won't. I don't think I can. In fact, I hope that the scene doesn't get cut out of the movie because I was pretty sure that this scene would be noticed after the movie because of one specific line, and then that line got cut halfway through the takes.
Does a car come pick you up?
No.
You have to make your way to the set.
I made my way. Yeah, it was down in the West Village.
Got it. So not too far.
Yeah, it was an outdoor scene, and
So did you have food at home, or did you just you
yeah, I think I had
you're
I think I had a smoothie.
You make it your own?
You make a smoothie?
Yeah, I'll make some
You are
smoothie.
no. Now this is. I don't want to like. You're known around the office. I would say Ian has some of this too, but like, you're somebody who like you make more elaborate meals than you would think based on your personality. Is that fair, or like you do a lot of like somebody like you give off the vibe of somebody who like. Some people,
I don't have a conventional like food relationship.
No, you'll eat stir fry at 9:30 in the morning if that's what you want,
Yeah.
or
You
if that's what's
subscribe
around.
to time.
Yeah, time don't tell me what to eat.
Yeah.
But also, like, you're the person who, like, I think, like, in some ways, like, people like can't figure out how you get to work in the morning, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I braised brisket over the weekend, and now I have like brisket for weeks, and you're just like, how did he do that? Like, I can't even do that.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing where you're or you get on these weird kicks where like you'll order
You're
food
right,
from the
people.
same place like for weeks, like
Yeah.
these like packages or these like cleanses or like I don't know.
Well, they're like,
it's like
they
jazz.
prepare the meal, like they'll send you like a week's worth of meals.
Yeah.
That are like well-made meals. Like, who does this? Like, well, I forget the name of the place right now. But like, yeah, they'll send you full meals for the week, and then you don't have to cook that week, and you can just chuck it in the microwave. It's got the instructions for how long you cook it and what you got to do with the sauces. And,
But see, now this is the part that's confusing me is I can't make a smoothie.
yeah.
But I was like, if I could make a smoothie, I wouldn't be ordering meals from places where that comes all prepared. I would just make smoothies.
Well, smoothies aren't fully filling. They're like equal to like a half of a meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you know you're going to be hungry again.
you
And they're
gotta
not
stir-fry it too.
like mentally or emotionally filling.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you might be like actual fill, but like your brain. For me, when I have a smoothie, I still want to eat something,
Yeah.
even if I'm technically.
I guess
full
that's
from
probably
the
me too.
smoothie.
Yeah.
But I was on set super early this week one day, and outside in like Herald Square area, and it was like 9:30 a.m. and a guy was in the window of this pizza place eating a piece of pizza, and I was like, this guy's living his best
Yeah.
life. 9:30 a.m. hot slice of pizza.
like an airport.
In the commissary at 30 Rock, yesterday, I went up to get some breakfast, and I noticed they were serving egg pizza. Eggs on top of regular pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
during
a
breakfast.
thing that's like a fancy thing that
Yeah.
people like that. It seems like they would try to do.
That doesn't seem fancy to me.
No, but if you go to a fancy restaurant and they have a pizza, they're going to have like the pizza
Yeah,
with
the
the egg
breakfast
on
pizza.
it. But are you down with a slice of pizza at 9:30 a.m.?
I know that will make me feel rough.
Yeah.
And so I won't eat it, but I'm not against the concept of it. If that can fuel you, amen.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So you get to set, and what happens?
So I get to set. I get taken to a trailer for me, and I get into the wardrobe that's in there.
Do you have your own trailer?
Yes.
Just for having one scene in this movie?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had 2 trailers.
Oh.
No, I don't. I didn't.
You have
I
two.
had like a small
Yeah,
trailer thing.
right.
I get in the wardrobe. I get attended to by like some production person,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get me over to hair and makeup, and they do very little to me.
Is this a period film, or is it?
You know, it isn't, but I thought for a long time that it was because my character had very bizarre dialogue. And he had these references to like old stuff that made it really like they didn't give me the script.
The whole script. You just got your
I
pages.
just got my pages, yeah. And my character has like references to Grace Kelly and well, I don't
Mr.
have
T.
to remember my lines currently.
But, yeah. But wardrobe-wise, are you close to yourself, or are you...
No,
No.
I can show you a picture,
Oh.
or is that useless?
No, let's see.
Here, okay.
We'll react.
Yeah,
in
we'll
real
react
time.
accordingly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so they had to, turn you into a different person. So. Oh. Interesting.
You look good. That's a nice outfit.
I actually don't think...
Colorful. And there you are with the master, Woody Allen.
I feel like this is how you might dress to like a nice occasion, or like a
place
I
that
could see you
serves
dressing
pizza with an egg on top.
I could see you dressing.
I'm also
yeah, exactly.
wearing no socks and brown tan leather loafers.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. So, yeah, it's like slacks, no socks, loafers, plaid shirt tucked in, little pastel colors.
Yeah.
Cool pick.
You look
I'm like
good.
an Upper East Side guy.
Who's the
Yeah.
other person in that pick, by the way?
Timothy Chalamet.
Are you...
Oh yeah, from Call Me by Your Name. He's in the movie.
Is your character douchey?
Yes.
Like an Upper East Side... You kind of look like one of those $1 Million Listings guys.
Yeah, I think my character is like, comes from money, has like emotionally absent parents, and his cultural currency is his gossip. That's sort of
So
the
like
impression
Matt.
I got.
Yeah, exactly. So you got one scene in the movie. How long does it take to shoot the scene?
Hour.
Yeah,
You got to do it a bunch of times.
Yeah, we
for
did
coverage.
it like 15 times from like different angles
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
yeah.
But it was like a fun scene. Like it was really nice showing up on set, and like Timothy, the other actor, you know, I knew who he was because I had heard about Call Me by Your Name, and I hadn't seen him in anything, and I decided like, oh, I don't want to watch anything he's in because I don't want to get my head about it.
Yeah.
But when I got there, you know, he shows up to my trailer and he's like, hey, I'm really excited about this. Like, it's nice to meet you. He was so sort of like excited and enthusiastic and almost a little, like he seemed a little nervous. And it
Well, he's
made
a
me...
younger guy.
Yeah,
He
that's
hasn't
what I
been in a ton of
figured.
movies
Like,
yet.
and it made me feel more at ease and very comfortable. And I was like, oh, I mean, like I've, you know, at work we're on sets a lot.
Yeah.
And so it didn't feel that much different from that. And I was like, oh, this isn't so weird. This is, you know, this is just going to a work thing.
Yeah.
And once I sort of like got that in my head, the day was really good.
Yeah.
Because we ran the lines. I knew all my lines and I felt very comfortable with them. And then, you know, we walked to set, and it was on, like, you know, I think it was, like, Perry Street or something like that.
That West Village is a mystery to me.
Yeah.
I lived there, and I still can't find my way around.
So we got out there, and there's, like, you know, hundreds of crew people and stuff, and I don't know who was all
Grips.
doing what.
Yeah.
A lot of grips.
Yeah, but they were all friendly, and
Was Woody
they were
in
running
your
a tight
scene?
ship. What?
Was Woody Allen in
Is
your
he in
scene?
the
No,
movie?
he's not in the movie. I
Not
don't
in the
think.
Yeah.
But he was directing, and he would like direct from a little tent, so he's watching it,
Right.
and then he would come out and speak with us in between takes.
Not in the movie, you don't think? That is funny. Have you still only seen your pages?
Yes,
It's funny, like, if you find out, like, you watch the movie and it's like, he plays the older version of you. Like, you had no idea,
Yeah.
like, in a future
right
scene or something like that.
Well, it's something. I think the script supervisor, I think that's what she was, told me. Well, during one of the takes, Timothy calls me Alvin, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if he just made that up. And then the script supervisor told me later on, like during like downtime, she's like, yes, Alvin Troller. Like, I thought my character's name was Troller because I'm like kind of a trolling guy. But he's like, she said, no, Alvin Troller is a name that Woody uses a lot. And just like,
It's like Art Vandelay.
Yeah.
Dr. Van Nostrand.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So did you grab some food at the set, or what'd you do?
I got a couple apples.
Yeah.
Like one on the way in, one on the way
You didn't
out.
want to be too full. You didn't
That's
want to be
good.
like...
Yeah, I didn't want to be too full.
So once
sluggish.
your scene is done, you can just leave and go home?
Yeah. I mean, my scene, I think, was the last scene that they shot for the film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they wrapped production that day.
Did you take a day off from work for this? Or was it during a hiatus week?
You did.
I did, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you get home kind of early, or did you get home earlier than you would from working at Seth, right? So it's almost like a free half day.
Yeah.
No? Yeah, so you get some free time.
That's right. That's right. A day for me.
He just got excited. I just pointed this out to him.
What'd you
He
do?
got
Yeah,
excited.
what'd you do when you came home from the movie? Did you have a cocktail?
I think I really
You kept the wardrobe.
that day, that morning, I was like, I took some time and I walked around and I wanted to like really make the moment, like make the day feel important to me. And so I spent some time, like thinking about, I don't know, if it feels weird to talk about, but like I wanted to,
you don't have
I
to.
wanted the moment to feel important. I think it's important to sort of celebrate important moments in your life, and
Sure.
it helps me remember them and understand their importance. So I was thinking a lot about my family that morning, and all of the parts in my life that sort of brought me there.
That's very sweet.
And to try to sort of just, it made me feel like it was important and like it was a right for me to be there. And then when I did the part and I felt like I did it really well,
Then you called your family and said, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
guys.
I said, "Fuck you, I don't need you anymore." No, then I walked.
I'm Dr. Alan Troller, you sons of bitches.
I spent the rest of the day walking around.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go home.
It's got to be like a little high. Like, yo, I was just in a Woody
I
Allen
was
movie.
feeling high, yeah.
It's amazing.
Nice.
And
was it cool listening to Woody Allen talk?
yeah, he's mild-mannered and
Sure.
and small, like restrained. Yeah.
Did you have to ask for that photo, or was that like offered up?
Well,
to you?
after the scene wrapped, that's what they call it.
Sure.
Industry jargon.
Yeah.
After the scene was
After
over,
they got it in the can.
I was walking with Timothy, and I was like, "This was so awesome. You want to get a selfie?" And because I don't do that normally. I don't post a lot of selfies, but like I was like, "This is cool." And he was like,
It's not
and he
like
was so cool.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't like a actor you saw on the street.
No,
it was
we
like,
had
hey,
been-
we worked
we've been
together
hanging
for a
out
day.
all day,
Let's,
yeah.
let's,
and he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then Woody walked by us, and he's like, "Oh, did you want to get Woody in it?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." How? He's like, "Hold on," and then he's like tapped Woody's assistant on the shoulder, and was like, "Can we get a picture?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Absolutely." And so Woody's like now,
yeah.
like signing, like album, like people had just been waiting off to the side of the street, like for him to sign stuff. And she's like, "Woody, the actors want a picture," and so she took some pictures of all.
That's
of us.
great.
Yeah.
What a
Because I
great
feel
day
like
that
some
is.
people would be too, I don't know, apprehensive to even.
I felt a little weird about it, but I was like, well, what the fuck difference does it make, right? Is somebody gonna like look at me and be like, "You rube,
Yeah.
you'll never work in this town again because you
No,
you
it's
thought it would
important to
be
enjoy it for
exciting."
what it is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like
really
you said.
cool.
Yeah.
I want to go to our newish segment.
Yes.
It's called Sorry I Was So Busy,
Oh.
and we talk about what were you busy with as a kid?
Yes.
What did young Ben Warheit get into
What
as
did you
a
do
kid?
all day as a kid?
What did you do all day?
Oh my God. I was spending a lot of time by myself, like in like fantasy land.
I forget. You have. Are you an only child, or are you?
No, I have an older brother. He's 7 years older.
That makes sense. You spent a lot of time alone.
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, like I would be outdoor. I remember my childhood as being like, playing by myself, like a lot outdoors, with toys, I would climb a lot of trees. I would
A lot
go
of
in the
woods.
woods
and
a lot.
Yeah.
This is exactly
you're
my
in
wife's
Delaware.
childhood. She had a sibling also.
I climbed
9
a lot
years
of trees.
older and a lot of
Yeah,
tons.
woods. Yeah.
I was
Loved
really
it.
good at that.
Yeah.
And I was good at climbing, and like my parents put me in a gymnastics program when I was really young. I think because I was like a climber kid, and I did gymnastics competitively throughout like the first 13, 14 years of my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so outside of that, I caught frogs.
Yeah. Did you ever used to like ice skate on ponds and stuff?
No,
What?
didn't have that. Didn't have those.
Where'd that come from?
Oh, my wife would do that sometimes. She
Oh,
would like cross
it's a
country
Delaware
ski
thing.
and stuff. And,
Yeah?
Yeah, and like snow.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't do like.
Did you ride your bike?
Absolutely.
Everywhere? I feel like
Everywhere.
that's a lost
Everywhere.
art. I watch Stranger Things now. I'm like, yes, that's what you did.
That's so. My girlfriend grew up in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you know Manhattan.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. The island.
That's right. Yes. And when I was the first time I took her back home, which was not this past Thanksgiving, but we did go back there. I took her to my old neighborhood, to my house where I grew up, because I wanted to show her like what I did, like where I was being a kid, and I took her into the woods.
Hey now.
It's like finally a dream. It's like a
Yeah. Young
Yeah.
Ben Warheit's
Yeah, I
dream.
know,
Take
right?
a girl
Yeah.
into the woods.
It was pretty great. She had never there's an area of the creek that you have to cross via a rope swing. She had never done that before. It's one of my favorite things to do, swing on a rope. The woods seem a lot smaller now.
Sure.
And only took like 20 minutes to get from one end to the other, but it was endless as a child. The world's a lot smaller now.
yeah.
I was able to show her the whole neighborhood, whereas that was my entire universe growing up
Yeah.
as a little person.
We had like my best friend lived in the next neighborhood over, and there was a dirt path that connected the two neighborhoods, and you couldn't drive through it. You could only walk or ride your bike through it. And so it was actually quicker to walk or ride your bike to my friend's house than it was to drive, because to drive you would have to drive
Sure.
out of the
Out of the
neighborhood,
neighborhood,
and
over, of
around, and
course.
then to the next neighborhood. And so I would go all the time.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I lived right by woods, and would go in there all the time. And then very similar to Matt, the next neighborhood over, which is separated by like a turnpike bridge and everything. Like it's quite a ways, but it's all the same woods.
Mm-hmm.
And we found when we were like 10, 11, that there was this like storm drain pipe that connected the two neighborhoods, and we used to walk through it. And like,
How long was it?
it was long. It was like probably a mile.
Oh my god.
Half a mile, something like, and really unsafe.
Yeah, but that's
But like that was like a shortcut to my friend's neighborhood.
Yeah.
and so it was like
how would you
dripping, and
discover that?
it was just like a cement thing, and then there was a pipe, and
How big is this pipe?
it was just a little bit of crouching, and I was a regular sized kid, and you would just walk through it, and it was like
For a mile?
it was like it probably wasn't a mile.
I hope kids still do this stuff. I think they do.
I would hope so. That's literally, I'm preoccupied when I watch Stranger Things thinking, I
Yeah.
hope kids in sort of protected their neighborhood, whatever, are still able to like sort of ride their
I
bikes
don't
to
know.
and from each other's houses.
I hope that's the case, but I don't we had these storm drains in the creek, and they were maybe like 2 houses long.
It was a tube.
a big tube.
Big tube, and you
Yeah.
could walk through it, and at the other end was my buddy's neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there could have been all kinds of like...
We would go in there to catch frogs.
Yeah.
And we would go to get from like one side to the other. It's just like a fun thing to do. And when I'm telling this stuff to my girlfriend, she's like, there's no chance in hell. Like, no, I
You're
would
not
never
taking
let,
me in the
she would,
drain.
I would never let my kids like away from the house on their own. I was like,
Yeah.
you would have to.
in the
have
suburbs,
to.
you can.
Have
It's different.
to.
Manhattan is a totally
She
different.
thinks everybody in the suburbs gets abducted.
and
No.
then in the woods...
Very few.
We...
Yeah.
And then in the woods, we explored to the degree that we actually found a back route to the Kmart, which was like
Wow.
a 10-minute
We never
drive.
had like the whole porno in the woods thing. We would find old baseball cards in there, but we never really
The
found
only thing with remember the Madonna book Sex?
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
Sure.
One kid had it.
Yeah.
And we took it into the woods because
Yeah.
so nobody would see, and we all looked at the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like a confessional.
Yeah.
I remember getting a hold of a Playboy and tearing out the pages and rolling them up and stuffing them inside of the battery compartment of a flashlight and bringing it on a ski trip.
Yes.
And being like, you'll never guess what I brought here. Like
Wow.
as if they needed to be hidden. Like,
Yeah.
That is the something the kids will never do. There's no reason that part
Well,
of
yeah, because of the
society is
internet.
gone. But walking through a storm drain, there's no way to replace that with your phone. So I would hope the kids still do.
I would hope.
Well, you can't go in a
still
wet storm drain with your phone. You can get wet.
I guess
I hope
it's
they
true.
explore.
It's like you can't push somebody in
But
the
I
pool
think that's
anymore.
been our best version of what. Sorry, I was.
That was great. Yeah, we've only done a few. All right,
good. We're
last
getting there.
question. Is there a time recently you've blown somebody off?
How do you go about
So,
telling
okay.
people you're too busy?
So I looked through my calendar, and I put everything in my calendar. And for some reason, it only goes back 2 months now before all things are blank. Is that, it's dynamic.
I'm not a
It's a
calendar
setting.
guy.
It's a setting.
It's a big thing.
Okay. So I looked at the last 2 months, and I don't think I blew anybody off in the last 2 months. I don't think I do that often. I think I'm more likely to... I like to make plans, and I like to have experiences, and I probably overcommit to those things. But I like doing them. They make life...
So you're not a blow-offer.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If I do blow off, if I do blow off, I probably say I'm sick or that I don't feel well. But if that's the case, I probably am not feeling well.
Yeah. Do you get people asking you, like emailing you, like asking you to read their stuff?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do it or do you?
Yes. No, I mean, sometimes I do it, but sometimes I'll say, that things are busy right now and I probably won't get to it right away. And then maybe I just don't get to it.
That's not a bad tactic, the preemptive, like, look, I'm really busy. I don't know when I'll
Yeah.
be able to get to this, but at some point.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I think more people should do that rather than saying, yeah, sure, I'll take a look, and then not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
That's not bad.
I don't like the dishonesty.
Sure.
I tried to avoid that.
Well, one way or another, you're preempting some possible more dishonesty, which is either A, you have to lie and say that you liked it, or B,
Well,
you have to...
I don't think that's true.
Or B, you have to tell somebody an uncomfortable truth, which is like, this is what is
Or
wrong.
you can tell them the things that you liked about it.
Yeah, the same. the old
Start with a
sandwich
positive.
method. Yeah, the old sandwich.
These are some really good premises.
Yeah.
What about
the idea of it is good.
What about with like performing, like a UCB show, and maybe you double book or something like that? In like those scenarios.
I do a one show a month with the writers of Late Night, and I try to make it a priority. And if I can't do that, I'll try to make sure that the other guys who are doing it know way in advance.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I blow people off too much. I
You're a sweet guy.
Yeah.
My relationship with time is maybe not the greatest thing. Like,
Right.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
you did
a.
say
I will
time
say
don't
this
tell me
was
when
a-
to eat.
This was a thing that we would run into sometime. We've now really, I think, worked together so long that we've boiled it down to a science where it was like when we were working on You Burnt in the early days, and I had a newborn baby at home, so I was like, I like to get out of work the minute that I'm allowed, and you would be like, hey, let's work on it when the show starts, and I'd be like, no, that's when I leave.
when I leave.
Yeah.
And then so we had to like come to like a sort of like an understanding. We've now have it down to a real science where we get.
Do you
our
go to
shit
this
done.
weird NBC gym that Matt always talks about on
Yeah.
the podcast?
yeah, I do. It's not that weird.
It's better now.
I kind of wish it wasn't on our floor.
Right.
But I like that the bathroom
Yeah,
is
that
closer.
makes it great, yeah.
It makes the bathroom is closer.
Were you inconvenienced when the bathroom was shut down and you had to go far for the bathroom?
Absolutely.
It's huge inconvenience. We had multiple discussions of it on the podcast about how there was all kinds of problems with me using the other gym and the bathroom. There's a lot of problems.
Not forgetting how to get into your locker.
Oh my god. It was
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. Dude, it's been so fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
Thanks for
by.
doing this.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Do you have anything else you want to mention or promote or plug?
Oh, sure. You know what?
This will post on
Actually,
Wednesday.
today I'm starting a new Instagram project that'll run for the next 31 days. And it's, I guess I haven't really decided what I'm going to call it. I think I'm going to call it Germainmas or the Advent Calendar Main.
Yeah.
So for the last, all year, we have table reads at work of all of our sketches we want to bring in to read in front of the rest of the writer's room and Seth. And we do this every Thursday morning. And so there's a sheet that says all of the sketches and It's just a blank sheet otherwise, and I draw a picture of our coworker Jermaine every time because he sits next to me, and I say, "This is you," and I give it to him. And there's been a lot of them now, so I'm just going to put them all online.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this was I know it probably will launch into a conversation we don't have time to have, but you did this with the Post-it notes that sort of got you into writing comedy and TV, right? With the caricatures on the Post-it notes and stuff.
Oh,
that got
yeah.
you the animated show.
Yeah, I used when I was back working in Columbia in an opiate lab. I was drawing Post-it notes.
Yeah.
And those turned into the.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to say you sort of gravitate to these long-term projects.
I am. I don't have a good relationship with social media. I don't like. I'm suspect of it.
I would disagree.
You don't think
You approach it differently.
I do. I want to mess with the
sure.
way the rules.
You'll just tweet things that just you'll tweet. I am the fruit man.
Well, yes, but that's also a reaction to how other people post.
We should have Ben back on and just talk about the opioid crisis.
Yeah. We're gonna have a serious discussion. Yeah. I'm looking forward.
So this Jermaine Miss.
I'm looking forward to
it'll be
Jermaine.
What's
every
your
day.
Instagram handle?
Ben Warheit.
There you go.
WARHEIT. People should
Check
go back
it
and look
out.
at because you also have the dicks.
I also
on there,
have
right?
the 60 dicks.
the 60 dicks that you drew. If people go back and look at those.
He drew 60. He drew a dick a day.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all different kinds of dicks. So check that out on Instagram.
Jermaine, we should say,
at Ben
not
Warheit.
a dick.
Jermaine is not.
Very
Jermaine's
nice.
a
No,
sweet
it's totally
man.
different.
Jermaine's a sweet, funny, smart man.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, on the note of 60 dicks, let's stay busy, everyone.
Thank you. Stay busy.
Bye.
Get my voicemail cause I'm busy. Whenever I get with her, say I'm busy. And I'm gonna hit you later cause I'm busy. Busy with her.